Just give me 1 second here, guys. Just getting set up. Just give me 1 second. Just give me a minute here. Just getting set up, okay, guys? All right. Okay. Bismillah. Wassalatu wassalam Rasulullah. Wa ba'd. In the name of Allah, and may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon his last and final messenger, as to what follows. Family, friends, foes, haters, and hateettes. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back to another Thursday Live on YouTube and Facebook with the features. I greet you all in peace and love. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May the peace and blessings of Allah be upon all of you. So just give me the thumbs up if you can hear me, if the sound is okay. I want to make sure that you guys can hear me well. And I hope all of you are well. And we have a very deep topic tonight, inshallah. So please hit me with a thumbs up. If you have not yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, please subscribe to the channel. And if you have, subscribe, share, like, and hit me up on Patreon. And please hit the thumbs up button. Let me know that you guys can hear me. Hit the thumbs up. It's very important. So tonight's topic, in essence, okay, alhamdulillah, we can hear you. Good. Tonight's topic, in essence, what it is I'm going to be talking directly to the brothers and sisters in the Black community and address a massive issue that we have, a social issue which is drawn from centuries of social engineering and is extended and perpetuated up until this day all over the Black communities internationally, not just in the West, but also in Africa as well. And that is, this social engineering project has essentially mass manipulated the minds of Black people to be underachievers and excuse makers. So there's going to be a lot of criticism, but it's a criticism that is warranted and needed. And it's going to be based, obviously, in facts, because you know I only bring receipts. I only deal with hardcore facts, right? I don't deal with anything else. And it's going to be based in reality. Because the fact is, with Black people, y'all don't like to be criticized, right? We don't like to be criticized, but you love to criticize. And without criticism, you can never improve. So to make a preface or build the foundation of this argument first, what I want to do is I want to play a video. Not a video. Well, I'm going to let you guys listen to this audio from one of the videos I did yesterday. I put this video up on YouTube yesterday called Clean Needles and Dirty Water on my YouTube channel. And there's a very important part in this audio from a documentary. It's called, what's the name of this documentary again? It's called Cold Case Hammarskjöld, which was done in South Africa. And this documentary exposes how the AIDS virus was intentionally spread throughout Black Africa for the sole purpose of killing Black Africans and white supremacy. But I want you to listen to the small portion where this ex-mercenary, what exactly he said. Okay, so hit me with the thumbs up. Like and share and subscribe and hit me up on Patreon and let's get into it. Okay, so listen up.
The idea being to kill Black people? Yeah, to eradicate Black people. You must understand the concept was that AIDS was a killer. It was incurable at that point in time. So it was led to believe that if infected people, it was the quick, non-militaristic approach to eliminate black people.
And that is something you know for a fact, that AIDS was actively being spread to other countries?
Yes, to African countries. We were at war. Black people in South Africa were the enemy.
Brothers and sisters, did you hear that? How did he define the relationship between the white brass in South Africa and black people? What did he say? He said, "We are what?" I'm gonna replay it again. Just listen. What did he say? Why? What was the reason that he said that they were spreading AIDS in Africa? Listen.
Being to kill black people?
Yeah, to eradicate black people. You must understand the concept was that AIDS was a killer. It was incurable at that point in time. So it was led to believe that if infected people, it was the quick, non-militaristic approach to eliminate black people.
And that is something you know for a fact, that AIDS was actively being spread to other countries?
Yes, to African countries. We were at war. Black people.
Thank you, Rabia. What did he say? He said, "We were at war." That's what he said. He said, "We were at war." So while these white supremacists were waging war against you, because they didn't come to you with guns and bombs, they came to you under the guise of medical care and poisoned you with a virus that they made, and you didn't know. You fell for it. He said, "We were at war." A brother asked me a couple of weeks ago, he goes, "Bilal, where's the civil war that you promised that was going to happen after Trump left?" We're already at war. We've been at war. And just because they didn't come to you with guns and bombs, instead, they came to you by locking you out of capitalism and locking you out of the education system and locking you up in jails. It doesn't mean that we were never at war. That's how he defined it. Silent weapons for quiet wars, exactly. And it's happening right now. So what does this have to do with the manipulation of simple-minded Negroes? See, some of us are jubilant in our own ignorance and our own opinions. And we believe that our opinions mean something because of social media. So because of this jubilance, we've gotten used to being intellectually lazy. Now, if you look, for example, at Beni Israel, for example, I did a video, I think 2 weeks ago, about the similarities between Beni Israel and the Black community. And when Musa was bringing Beni Israel out of the land of Pharaoh and into the promise, this land was promised by Allah, okay? It was promised to them. And what was the response of Beni Israel to Musa. When Musa told them, listen, guys, this is my translation, okay? This is my translation. Listen, y'all, all we have to do is fight those people in that land, and it's all ours. Allah's gonna help us. It's gonna be so easy. Allah's gonna help us. What did they say? What did they tell Musa? They said, wait a second, you want us to fight them? No. Why don't you and your Lord go and fight those people in that valley? Mind you, they had already seen with their own eyes Allah drown Pharaoh and his armies in the sea. With their own eyes, they saw that. And they turn around and they tell Musa, no, you and your Lord, you go fight them. And that's how some of you Negroes sound when you talk about, you want us to build a nation? You want us to build our own communities? Why don't you and your Lord go and build your own community? You want us to separate from these people who've declared war against us? No. That's exactly how you sound. How did they get to this point, though? If you think about slavery, I'm going to ask you guys a question, right? Thumbs up, everybody. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Like, subscribe, share. Hit me up on Patreon, please. Support your grassroots Black media. Support your grassroots Black media. You're not going to hear this stuff on mainstream. They don't do that. They don't do real stuff. They do mainstream stuff. So if you don't support us, then who else is going to support us? It's very important. So like, subscribe, share, hit me up on Patreon. Now listen. Black people, during the times of slavery, it was illegal for them to what? It was illegal for them to read, correct? Now, why was it illegal for Black people to read? What was the connection that our open enemies made between Black folk and reading? Why did they make it illegal for them to read? Somebody answer for me, please. Think about this. Not only was it illegal for them to read, but it was a crime punishable by death. So Rabia says, because they would educate themselves. Now, what is the connection between education and oppression? We would discover the truth. Mashallah says we would discover the truth. What is the connection between discovering the truth and education? Thank you, Khadija. The knowledge. They did not want us to gain knowledge, outsmart the white supremacists and expose it exactly. SP leaks. Exactly. They did not want us to gain knowledge because we are a race and they are a different race. It's about the race. When you are racing your opponent, you're not trying to help your opponent. You're trying to beat your opponent by as much as possible. It's a race. So in order to keep us perpetually oppressed, they made it illegal for us to read, and even capital punishment was inflicted on any Black person who was caught reading. Fast forward 2021. It's not illegal for Black people to read, correct? Jazakallah khair. Nice haircut, Sheikh. Jazakallah khair. It's not illegal for Black people to read, correct? Correct. It's not illegal for Black people to read? Are Black people reading? Yes or no? Talk to me. Come on. Are Black people reading? Yes or no? Let's be real. Let's be real. Like I said, Black people are jubilant and ecstatic about their ignorance. Yes, this is done through social engineering. Yes, that's correct. But for those of us who understand the connection between education and oppression, and we still don't find time to read, that shows excitement in ignorance. And when you're excited about your ignorance, you're easily exploited. You know, Adolf Hitler, he was the first person to use media as propaganda. And from that time, the weaponizing of media as propaganda and to control the thoughts of people has been studied and perfected all the way up until this very day. So when you have Black folk who are the number one consumers of television, and they know that they're far behind, and there's no shortage of work, telling you that they don't have time to read, they're lying. That's a damn lie. And they're building excuses for their inaction. I know that hurt a little bit, but it's the truth. See, I'm not here to mince words. Like, if we're brothers and sisters, we should be able to give each other honest advice. You know what I'm saying is correct. If you got time to watch Housewives of Atlanta and what's that, Love and Hip Hop, and all these crazy, insane shows, and go on Facebook and write text after text, after post after post after post after post, and respond to this one and that one, don't tell me you don't have time. What it is you're intellectually lazy. Because you're reading, yes, you're reading, and yes, you're writing, but you're reading nonsense and you're writing crap. All the stuff that you wrote on your social media could probably make a book in 1 week. I challenge you, some of you, count the amount of posts you put on your social media. Just count. So what it is, it's like what they did during the crack epidemic. You see, during these times, they started flooding the Black community with drugs and whatnot. And because the drugs were coming in the community, Black people couldn't get loans, they couldn't get land, they couldn't get businesses, they couldn't work, they couldn't get a job. You know what I'm saying? Because we're being locked out of capitalism, locked out of it. So what happened was Black people started self-medicating. They started self-medicating. And I mentioned this before in one of my videos, what was one of the most powerful tools during the crack epidemic that put a massive dent in the crack epidemic? Do you guys remember what it was? What was it? An extremely powerful tool. During the crack epidemic, a grassroots tool from the Black community that almost destroyed the crack epidemic. What was it? You guys remember what it was? Thank you, Michelle Love. Rap music. It was rap music that almost destroyed the crack epidemic. Hip hop music. And your enemy and my enemy decided that they would buy the industry and flood the industry with gangster rap and up until what we have today. And so we find people like Lil Uzi Vert who can spend $24 million to put a pink diamond and surgically implant it in his head. Now, if you know all this, and you see your youth sign off on that craziness, do you think we have time to be messing around on social media? You think we have time for that? We have so much work to do. So much. You see, I wish if it was permissible, I would show you guys some of the more raunchy and incredibly hateful text and messages I get. If I believed it was permissible, I would do it. Because just the voice only, just only saying this stuff drives people insane. I always advise brothers and sisters to do just the simple things, not to do too much, because the Prophet ﷺ, he said, the most loved deeds from Allah are those that are done consistently, even if they're small. So small things like fasting on Mondays and Thursdays. And I think that's something easy that anybody can do, right? Reading something every single day. If you read a few pages every day, even if you don't have to count pages, count minutes. Say, I'm going to read 5 minutes in a day. In a month, you finish a book. Even me, and my problem right now is that I'm running out of books. That's my issue. And usually, for my own personal habit, I finish a book a week. Every week, I have to finish one book. Why am I telling you this? I'm not telling you this to show off, or to I'm not telling you this for any type of riyah. The reason why I'm telling you this is because some brothers and mostly brothers anyways, they think that I have some sort of because of the way I speak, I think I'm better than people, and that's even not the case. That's not the case at all. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get my people to level up and bring their game up. Because once we all level up, the whole community levels up. That's what I'm trying to do. Even for myself, I know I have my own shortcomings. Allah knows. My family knows. But I'm trying to encourage my brothers and sisters to level up. And the way that we argue, it sounds completely ridiculous. You know, when people don't sound like they don't know what they're talking about, usually it's because they don't know what they're talking about. And they don't know what they're talking about. Why do Black people not know what they're talking about? It's because they don't read. They are dependent on what they see on the internet. And if you are dependent on what you see on the internet, then you are subject to algorithms and false information. You guys feel me? Who was the best human being that happened to be illiterate that ever lived? Who was it? The best human being that ever lived that happened to be illiterate. Who was it? Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. Thank you. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was the best human being that ever lived that just happened to be illiterate. Then let me ask you this. The best human being that ever lived that happened to be illiterate, what was the first command that he ever got? What was it? Thank you. Read. See, y'all don't really see. The thing is, just like weed is used for self-medicating because you have all these problems and woes and whatnot, you're also self-medicating by your televisions and by your programs. The television program, that is not the program. You're the thing that's being programmed. It's you. So this illiterate prophet was commanded to read, and that Iqra right there is a command from the Quran until Yom Qiyamah. So an illiterate man produced the most scholarship in human history. And we're not just talking Islamic scholarship either. From the sciences, whether it's geometry, algebra, chemistry, whatever, all the sciences that we have today, we owe it to the legacy of an illiterate prophet, sallallahu who was ordered to read. When you're reading, that is an active. That is like it's an action. You yourself are physically involved between yourself and a page in a book. And this reaction is a receptive skill. When you are receiving information, you're actually learning something. And you know what you're not doing when you're reading? You're not talking. Think about that. When you're reading, you're not using this. You're not expressing your opinions or your disdain for what's written in the book. All you're doing is receiving the information. You can't object. You can't say, well, I disagree with you. There's no conversation. It's a one-way action. It's a one-way action. Like, subscribe, share. hit me up on Patreon, guys. Support your Black grassroots media. If you haven't subscribed to my channel on YouTube, please do that right now. But please hit the thumbs up, and share, subscribe. This is all important. But anyways, now I want to show you how easy it is to manipulate you. I'm going to show you how easy it is. And what I'm about to show you right now is going to blow some of your minds, because you probably never thought about this. And I'm pretty sure everybody that's watching this has at some point practiced this principle. Now, in the Islamic circles, especially on YouTube, you'll find a lot of people who are, there's a lot of fitna. There's a lot of like this type of refutation culture, and people are feuding this one and that one. And those of you who have been Salafi for a long time, what do the Salafi brass, what do they say about somebody who they suspect rather is spreading false information, right? When it comes to a person like this, they always tell their followers or whatever, don't take knowledge from him. He's dal mudil, right? Or something of that nature. Don't take knowledge from him. He's a fasik. Like, for example, what they did with me, right? Remember when I came on YouTube and whatnot, and then I started spilling the beans on the cults and Troy and Spubs and them, right? Remember, boycott them, exactly, right? And then what did they say about me, right? They went into my social media. They went into my social media, my Instagram and Facebook, right? They sifted all through my social media, pulled out some stuff. They made videos about this. Why did they do that? Why did they try to character assassinate me? Why did they try to libel and slander me and things of this nature? Why did they try to do that? It's because the arguments that I was bringing was so incredibly hardcore, they couldn't come up with any argument to refute it. So in order to get the people to stop listening to this, they have to character assassinate me. So they have to dig deep and try to get all the dirt from my personal background on my Instagram, on my Facebook and everything, and make video name, which they practice in order to trick you, and you go for it every time. And that logical fallacy is called ad hominem, and that's exactly what they did with me. Instead of attacking the argument, they attack the person. And this is what they do every single time with you black folk. Every single time. And it's not new. The first people who started doing this as a strategy to control you was the FBI. Those cult people are the FBI of Islam. They don't even have to attack the argument. Attack the person, and what the person says can't be true because that person made this sin or that sin. And your simple-mindedness, because you didn't want to read, and I'm going to prove it to you, you just believe them and trust them. Yes, they do it to non-blacks too, though, yes. I'm going to prove it to you. Did Allah say that you cannot take any information from a fasik? Yes or no? Did Allah say like these people? Let's say that I'm an open fasik, like they say. Let's for argument's sake, let's say I'm an open fasik, okay? Open sinner. Did Allah say not to take information from a fasik? Thank you. Allah said, verify. Allah said, verify. That's a command from the Quran. That if a fasik is bringing you news, verify it. They want you to separate yourself from the verification process and believe them. Just like the FBI did with Martin Luther King, with Malcolm X, with Fred Hampton, with recently Assata Shakur. What did they call Assata Shakur just like 2 or 3 days ago? Or no, January, I want to say January, the beginning of January. What did they do with Assata Shakur? And from all the way from the Obama administration, what did they say about Assata Shakur? They said she's what? Come on, talk to me. What did they say about Assata Shakur? What did they say? A terrorist. Thank you, Rabia. They called Assata Shakur a terrorist. Why did they call her a terrorist? Thank you. She's on the FBI most wanted list. Yes. Why did they call her a terrorist? Is she a terrorist? They called her a terrorist because what? They claim that she killed a cop, correct? Correct? So she kills a cop, she becomes a terrorist, correct? January 6th, when real white terrorists killed a cop, how many of them were on the FBI most wanted list? The reason why they use these strategies is to separate you from the facts, and you go for it. Every single time you go for it. And the reason why you go for it is because your training has caused you to be intellectually lazy, and you need to level up. These are not new strategies. These are not even, there comes a point in time where you have to stop, you have to look in the mirror. And now is that time. In 2021, what excuse really do we have to be ignorant? Is there any excuse for us to be this ignorant at this point in time? And in my humble opinion, these arguments that you're having, these arguments that you have with other Muslims online, are pretty useless, and it's a massive waste of time. And you were saying that you don't have time to read, but you have time for this kind of craziness. We have work to do. We have work to do. So I'll leave you with this. They made it illegal for us to read, to use our ignorance as a tool to keep us enslaved. So if they're no longer doing that, and you're not reading, you're not writing, you're not educating yourself, you're not raising the bar for yourself, then what's the difference between you and an illiterate person? Yes, pubs are a tool for white supremacy. I believe that, actually. What's the difference between you and any other illiterate person? One of the illiterate person, he doesn't read because he can't. You don't read because it's boring. You know, you depend. It's boring. You know, you're depending to entertain you. Video. Or you want to entertain yourself and raise your dopamine levels by putting some snarky responses on social media. Meanwhile, we don't have banks, we don't have schools, we don't have supermarkets, we don't have hospitals or any of these institutions. We have a generation of young Black men who want to be rappers and basketball players, and they don't want to be doctors and lawyers and engineers and architects and all the things that we actually need, psychologists, psychiatrists. There is a time where we have to stop making excuses. Yes, the Quran is supreme, but I want the brothers and sisters to move out of the speaking phase of it and put it into actuality. Like, what do you mean? Even if you read like the Quran like 5 minutes a day, that's enough. But make sure you're doing it every day. Just make sure you're doing it every day. Because if I was to ask some of you how many books you read this month or even this year, if your answer is 0, then you're not serious about anything. And your opinion doesn't matter about anything. And you should be the last person to give your opinion about anything. You understand? All these excuses that we make, like really, excuses sound good to the person who's making them. And there is no shortage of work that we have to do. We have massive problems with our families, massive. We can't stay married. So if you know that this is a problem in the Black community, then why are you advising the people to get married when there's some deep underlying need that need to be fixed so that we can save our marriages? Both our men and our women need some serious counseling. So somebody in the community has to step up to take on that role of counseling. And if you take on that role, you have to educate yourself. And how are you going to educate yourself without reading? There's a job for everybody. Everybody has something to do. Yes, writing is better, but writing requires research, which requires reading as well. You understand? Writing is a productive skill, but you have to, in order to be a writer, you have to receive the information first and then produce. Talking is also a productive skill, and what we have a problem with is we want to talk without even acquiring anything of information or knowledge. And that's a problem. That is a problem. And when you get blasted, when you get blasted or when you get criticized, you don't like it. You take it personally. You know how many times I've been blocked from social media, from Muslims, mind you, for not opposing Allah and not opposing his messenger, but rather bringing facts and proofs, you know what I'm saying, and sticking to the point. You know how many times I've been blocked like that? And these are Muslims. What did the Prophet say about boycotting your brother for more than 3 days? It's not permissible. But you find people who block easily on social media because they get emotional and triggered. So that's why it's easy to handle and manipulate simple-minded Negroes. But it's not easy to handle and manipulate Black people who actually know a thing or two. And the more you know, the less you can be manipulated. There's no excuse for any of us in this pandemic time to not be leveling up on our Arabic and our Quran and these type of things. You know, every single day I'm in my books, like every day. You know what I mean? Even if it's just a little bit. And like I said, I'm not saying that to brag. I'm not saying that to brag. But it's something that we need to take very seriously, because we're not building any community with ignorance. Or otherwise, it's just going to be another 100 years of this white supremacy over us, because every other community is leveling up, every other community is uniting, and you have Black people talking about, oh, I can't unite with my own people, that's racism. And they're seeing it happen. But so you want to unite in somebody else's community. You want to integrate with somebody else, the people that don't love you, but you can't unite with your own people. That's ignorance. That's high level ignorance. Where did they come up with this concept? You understand? It can't be the Quran. It can't be the Sunnah. Where did they come up with this? So, like, subscribe, share, hit me up on Patreon. I will leave you with the statement from Abu Toba, Sheikh Abu Toba, Habibullah, where he said, memorize the Quran or shut up. Get to work. We have work, massive amounts of work to do. Massive amounts of work to do. Allahu Akbar. Hit me up on Patreon, like, subscribe, share. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.